best parts. But the rest of them are having a bit of a hard time. But so if you see them in anything, do watch, because you know they were kind of unlucky in the Star Trek thing. Yes, young lady.
So was it interesting working with Majel Barrett, who was a veteran from the original show?
Well, you know, she actually, although it didn't air as episode 3, we shot Haven as episode 3. It was the 3rd episode that we shot. And we were a bit worried, because literally from day one, we were just laughing and misbehaving. I mean, we had one director in the first season who directed 2 episodes, and then he refused to ever come back because we were too rowdy. So that was, you know, and it doesn't, I've never heard of that happening before, that a director would refuse to work on a show because the actors are too rowdy. But, so we were a bit worried. We were like, uh-oh, lost his wife. Maybe we're going to have to behave for 1 episode, right, be good. And then in about 10 minutes, we realised she was wackier than the rest of us put together. And she fit right in. And what was great was that whenever she worked, Jean would come to the set and would just sit there and just watch her, but just adoringly. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. He never came to watch us, never. Right? But when Majel was on the show, he would sit there in his chair and just watch her, just with like so much love, and it was a beautiful thing to see. And of course, I was really fresh off the boat. I'd only been in America for 6 months when I was cast on Star Trek, so I didn't really know many people. I came without knowing anybody. I literally got on a plane and came. And I knew one person who I'd met for 10 minutes in London, and that was my roommate. And we didn't get along. But that's fine. Anyway, so what was I saying about Majel? Okay, Majel. So the Roddenberrys, knowing that I was, you know, new, fresh, made sure that I was invited to their house at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and you know, whenever there was a holiday, they did make sure I wasn't sitting on my own somewhere, and they really kind of adopted me. I used to call her Mom, you know, and I still call Roddy Bro, you know, and so we're still very close. It's one of the blessings, actually, that the fact that I think probably I knew the Roddenberrys better than anyone else in my cast, because they did take care of me so much. And it was Majel who actually saved my job. I was going to get fired in the first season, and that was because apparently Jean went home one day and said to Majel, "We have too many women on the show, and one of them's got to go." Well, you know, it doesn't need a rocket scientist to work out. You need a security chief, and you need a doctor. Psychologist? You know, that's kind of an extra you may not need, right? So Majel, I remember, she was doing a convention in Los Angeles down at the Ambassador Hotel, which is where Robert Kennedy got shot. And she was doing a convention there. And it was a Saturday, and she called me and she said, "What are you doing this afternoon?" And I said, "Not much." And she said, "Well, get your ass down to the Ambassador Hotel." So I went down there and she introduced me to the fans, and this was in August, so we weren't even on the air yet. We went on the air in September. And to be honest, the fans could care less. They were like, "Who are you?" Actually, we don't care. You know, we love we don't want a new Star Trek. We love watching our old Star Trek in reruns. You know, how dare you try and take their place? They were not really friendly, I have to say. For a while, that wasn't just there. But after you know, she'd introduced me, she said, "You know, go wait for me in the bar and we'd have a chat." And I went and waited for her. And she told me that, she said, "Have you started doing conventions yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And she said, "Start." And she gave me a number to call, and I started doing conventions. And so I think it was the combination of me getting out there to do conventions and kind of building a fan base, and then Denise quitting saved my job, really. So thank you, Denise. You know, for the next 7 years she was trying to get back on the show, but yeah, we won't talk about that. But I think I would not be here today if that had happened. I think I was gone. So, and not because they didn't like me, it was just because he felt he had one too many women on the show. It seems that you can have as many men as you want, but you can't have more than 2 women. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Except on Voyager, they had 3, right? But originally 2, until they brought the Baa Boo Body of Death girl on the show. And she eats. That is what's so sickening about Jerry Bryan. I wouldn't mind if she was starving herself to look like that. She's starving herself to look like that. She eats a lettuce leaf a day. She eats candy and all sorts of crap like that. It's just not fair.
Have you not seen where it's all going?
You could buy them too. You could all have them. Yes.
What happened to the boots and the little skirt?
Oh, okay. Sit down, make yourselves comfortable. This is long. So, back when I first got the job, they said to me, "You got the job, lose 5 pounds." Right? That was literally what they said. You got the job, lose 5 pounds. Because I was about, I think, the same size then as I am now, right? Probably exactly, maybe 2 or 3 pounds heavier, not a lot, right? But, you know, TV puts 10 pounds on you, and it does put 10 pounds on you. And when I gain weight, it's all in the middle, midsection. So it's like a potato with matchstick sticking because my arms and legs are skinny. You know, I've got skinny legs. I'm not going to show you more because I haven't shown you this time. But anyway, so they put me in the regulation spacesuit, and I was basically just too lumpy in all the wrong places. And because I do have good legs, they decided that they would put me in the cosmic cheerleader outfit. And I have to tell you, that hair, that exploded Brillo pad on my head in that first episode, that's my real hair. That was the only time you ever saw my real hair. This is my real hair straightened, right? Ironed to within an inch of its life, right? But that hair, that thing, that's what my real hair looks like when I don't straighten it. So after the first episode, they realized that the outfit didn't really match the character, because she was supposed to be a kind of all cerebral and you know, head person, and to have, you know, me flitting around in go-go boots, you know, I thought I should be in a cage. So anyway, they decided that as I wasn't going to be wearing the uniform because it didn't look nice, that they would make me something different. Jean said, okay, if you're not wearing a uniform, because you're a psychologist and the ship's counselor, you'll be wearing something different so that when people come to see you and tell you their problems, you're not in uniform, they'll feel more comfortable, right? So they took me to a colour person and I sat there on a Saturday on my day off for 3 hours while she held swatches up to my face. And we ended up with grey. Right? There's 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. Right? Grey. The ugly grey spacesuit. And they put a belt, remember the belt? One in pink, one in green, precisely where my fat was. Yeah. So I used to watch the episodes and think, you know, they should just have arrows pointing to it. This is where she's at. Well, so what happened then? Now, when I was originally cast and when I was talking to Gene about the character, he told me that Troy was the brains of the Enterprise. I know, step back in amazement, right? However, when I got the ugly grey spacesuit, there are some seats here, kids, if you want to come and sit down. Move up, oi, you, with a hat, move up. Okay. Come and sit, yeah, you, come on, make room, don't have 1 or 2 chairs empty, move along. There you go, move.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know why I'm doing this, you're very late.
Oh, we need one more.
So anyway, there's 2 more.
Oh, I've got a son.
Sorry.
So I don't want to leave him by
I used
himself.
to be an usher in the theatre.
Nicely
So,
done.
I did touch my so where was I? Oh yeah, the ugly grey spacesuit. Cleavage, right? Cleavage. Well, there are certain rules in Hollywood. Right. One of the rules is, if you know, you're doing an action adventure show, you're going to have some chicks on the show so that when the boys aren't blowing up spaceships, they've got something to look at, right? If the chick, the second rule, if the chick has a cleavage, she cannot have a brain. It's not an equation, brain, cleavage, right? So when Troy got her cleavage, she lost all the grey matter. right? And she just became decorative, like a potted palm on the bridge. And then we lost both the other girls, and I was never supposed to be the chick. I was never supposed to be the sexy chick on the show, because I was originally supposed to be the brains, remember? Think back. Denise was supposed to be the, the chick. And so, because she has an ass. I sent search parties out for mine. So, anyway, when they left, Gates was asked to leave, and Denise quit, and I was the only one left. And so I had to become, especially because the person coming in was Diana Muldow, and God bless her, she's great, but different generation, right? So, I'm not going to say she's old, I'm probably the same age she was then when she started. So, I had to become the girl. So that was when I got the red outfit, and they were on me all the time to lose weight, all the time. I'd get a phone call. Do you want the good news or the bad news? Oh, I don't care. Good news is your work yesterday was great. Bad news is you look fat. We pay you a lot of money to look good. Think about it. I literally got that phone call, right? So I was going to the gym. I would get up at 4 in the morning to work out before I had to be at work. I mean, like, I had to be at work at 5:15. I'd get up at like 3:30 to work out at 4. It was insane. So anyway, I was getting thinner and thinner, and so then I had the red outfit, then I had the lilac outfit, then came the green dress, which I hated, because it was not a proper dress. It wasn't a dress like this where you can just lift it up to go to the bathroom, right? Okay, it's probably too much information, but anyway. It was a leotard. It was an all-in-one leotard, and they just sewed a skirt on it. And of course, we don't have zippers in the 24th century, they've got to be invisible. So there was an invisible zipper in the back, and so I didn't, it was like, I couldn't undo it myself, and every time I had to go to the loo, I had to ask one of the wardrobe to undo me, so I could go to the bathroom. Then everyone would know I was going to the bathroom. Oh, I'd go, number 1 or number 2, Marina, I'm shut up! And underneath the dress, I had a corset, like a satin corset, not these like Spanx jobs. I mean, literally Scarlett O'Hara, knee in the back with laces corset, right? And that's because we are wrinkle-free in the 24th century. And the fabric of my dress, they wanted it to not wrinkle, you see. I mean, we're wrinkle-free, right? Because that's why all the boys do the Picard maneuver. All together. It's true. I know. Because we're wrinkle-free. I'm at a Star Trek convention. I know that most of you, including the boys, have worn a corset at some point in your lives. And as you know, it pushes everything either up or down. And everything that was pushed down was hidden in that big skirt, and everything it pushed up, they enclosed in what I named the Industrial Strength Starfleet Regulation Brassiere. It's a wonder of modern engineering, honestly. I'm not small, but it added more, it really did. And I would take it off at night and go, all right, where'd it go? And then we would get guest stars who would see me as Marina in the morning, then they'd see me 2 hours later as Troy, and they would go, I want a bra like that. So after I, kind of brought the bra into existence, every woman on Star Trek after me, every single one, wore that bra. I mean, not the same bra, obviously, but they all had the bra. In fact, when Terry Farrell was auditioning for DS9, she came to my house just before her final audition, which is what we call the test, when you meet all the bigwigs at the studio. And she came to my house, and she walked in, and I was like, oh my God. She looked like something out of the Rocky Horror Show. I said, what are you, gosh,